Fabrizio Romano has given an update video last night around the situation with Mainoo. Man United is still very much holding ground that Zirkzee and Mainoo will not be moving in January because Amorim wants them to stay. We're not in Europe, obviously. We're not in the Carabao Cup, obviously. But he feels that, you know, he needs a big squad around him. Is that fair? From Amorim's point of view, it's absolutely fair. But he does say that West Ham have contacted the club to inquire about the situation of Mainoo and Zirkzee on loan, but United are not open to any negotiations at this moment in time. Also, interestingly, from Gazzetta dello Sport, they're saying that Napoli, Conte want Mainoo in January, and also that Roma are continuing their pursuit of Zirkzee and want to add him on loan in January too. Roma currently sit joint top of Serie A and want to bolster their squad from a position of strength. In relation to Napoli, I think they were very close to wanting Mainoo back in August, and he wanted them. Zirkzee will not have a shortage of people wanting him in the Italian league as well, and obviously I think in the Premier League there might be some interest as well. So I think it's I think Amorim's in a good position here. I mean, my understanding is from very, very good sources a few weeks ago is that if Zirkzee was removed from the squad in January, then Amorim would expect a replacement in January. And if Mainoo was removed from the squad in January, he would expect a significant replacement in January, which is part of the reason that Mainoo couldn't go in August. Essentially, Ruben Amorim said, I don't want Mainoo to go. Mainoo said, I want to go. And Amorim basically said to the board, if you let him go and you don't replace him, you're messing up this season for me. So you better get a replacement in, which is why we were moving for Conor Gallagher in the last week. The plan was not to get Conor Gallagher in and keep Mainoo. So this is maybe new news. I think it's not. I think we've mentioned it before, and I think other people have mentioned it before, but it's common sense news as well. We were moving for Baleba and Conor Gallagher in the last few weeks of the transfer window, and the plan was not to keep 5 midfielders. We would have moved somebody on, and ultimately it may well have been Mainoo, which is weird because if we got Baleba, a lot of people were going Baleba and Mainoo, but I think there was a chance that Mainoo could have gone. But certainly in the last week, when we were going for Conor Gallagher, that would have been Mainoo going. So Amorim's in a strong position because there is this position at the moment where Man United and Ruben Amorim are not interested in letting Zirkzee or Mainoo go. I'll tell you my opinion on that in the moment, and you can give me yours. But let's not forget that if one of those players go, another player comes in. So if Mainoo goes in January on loan, another midfielder comes in. If Zirkzee goes in January on loan, another striker comes in. So I'm quite relaxed about that because we're sort of sat there as fans at the moment, and I've changed my tune. I'll put my hands up and say, look, at the moment, Amorim's being proved right. I'm not convinced, but he is right, and I'm more than happy to say he's right at the moment. Casemiro and Bruno are our best midfield too. I'm saying that as a fact, like they are. They're proven. We've won 3 games. They are our best midfield too. Ugarte and Mainoo cannot get into that team. Ugarte's not really been able to get in that team consistently since, sort of February. And Mainoo's never been able to consistently get in that midfield. So his midfield two is Casemiro and Bruno. That's what it is. So I can't sit here and go, we've got to keep Ugarte, we've got to keep Mainoo. I want those two to be given a chance. But with every passing week, it becomes more and more clear that Amorim doesn't rate them. And as much as I want them to be part of our future, I'm already, if I'm being honest, starting to lean towards, well, what is the future then? If it's not Mainoo and Ugarte, what is it? Because at the moment, it can't be Bruno and Casemiro. I don't think Casemiro's here next season, and I'm not 100% convinced that Bruno is either. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, if he doesn't rate Mainoo and Ugarte, which he clearly doesn't, and Casemiro and Bruno aren't going to be here next year, then who is going to be our midfield of the future? So but we always come back to the same thing. My opinion is there is people out there. Look, people might not like it. I'd say if you said to me a few weeks ago, I don't like it. But the cold, harsh fact is Mainoo wants to leave Man United on loan and play football. He's wanted to do that for the last 3 months. He's not playing football at Man United. And in 2 months, there's a January transfer window. I don't think he'll be knocking on the door. I think he'll be kicking it down, saying, this is not fair. I want to play for Man United. You won't let me. I want to play football. You won't let me. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I I empathise with Amorim going, well, if I get an injury, I need you. But I also sympathise with Mainoo, who, as we've mentioned multiple times before, was in a very strong position couple of years ago, where he's playing for England, he's playing in our midfield, and now he can't play football at all. And I'd also be saying, if I was Mainoo to Amorim, I'd be saying, stop talking about the future, stop talking about this scenario, that scenario. I've been playing for you for a year. You don't pick me. I'm not an idiot. Like, you don't pick me. Last season, we finished 15th with the worst midfield we've ever had. You didn't pick me. This season, you're doing well. You don't pick me. Stop talking about the future. I've played in the Euros. I've played for Man United in the midfield against decent teams when I was 18. Now I'm 20. You don't pick me. So stop like ruining my career. Basically, you're not using me. Let me go and play elsewhere. I'll prove it. I don't want to leave. I'll go on loan. Let me go and play somewhere else. Let me prove what I can do between now and the end of the season, and we can have another chat in the summer. And if you still don't want to use me, then I think you need to sell me. But if you see what I can do on loan, then let me come back in the summer. So I think that Mainoo's have got every right to ask that question. And I actually think this doesn't come down to Amorim, and it doesn't come down to Mainoo. I think logically, what would I do? What would you do? What would you do with the Mainoo situation? In relation to what I've just said there, he's not being picked. He's not been picked for a whole year, really. He's still not being picked now. There's loads of clubs that want him. He wants to play in January. He's going to say, I want to go. And Amorim's going to say no. What do we do? Because in that situation, if I'm Amorim, I just say, wait a minute. I go into Barada's office and I say, I actually agree with him. I actually do agree with him. In this four walls, I agree with him. I don't let him know. I don't actually rate him that much. I'm not going to play him that much. And he's just sat on his arse. But I can't let him go, because if I get an injury to Casemiro and Bruno, I've only got Agate. So I can't let him go, but I won't use him that much. If we let him go and you bring me, say, Conor Gallagher in, I will use Conor Gallagher more than I'll use Mainoo, and he will get minutes elsewhere. So can we sort this deal out? Because ultimately, that's what I'm going to say to him. I'm going to tell him the truth and say, you're not in my plans, but I haven't got enough midfielders to let you go. If the board give me another midfielder, I will let you go on loan. And that's what I would say. Because I genuinely don't think Amorim is going, you're not going anywhere. I think you're a brilliant bench player. I think he's going, you're not going anywhere. I haven't got a big enough squad to let you go. If they give me a replacement, you can go. And that's exactly what we were trying to do in the last week of the window with Conor Gallagher. So I think this is on the board. So for me, it's not a bad position to be in. If Mainoo stays, I'm not that bothered. If Mainoo goes and plays on loan somewhere and we get a replacement in, I think that's the best for everybody. But there are still 2 months left. Like, I don't think it will happen. But what if he picks Bruno and Mainoo on Saturday against Forest? Suddenly things start to change. I mean, it's annoying with Mainoo because you're almost so close you can almost touch it. I mean, he is sort of, if I'm being honest, Agate's in a better position because Agate will play instead of Casemiro, Mainoo won't. But he is close, but he's not quite close enough. But I do agree with Missel. I personally think it's best for, and this is not a negative. I'm not saying sell him. I'm a massive fan of Mainoo, like a lot of you are, but I just want to see him play week in, week out. I think he needs to play week in, week out. I don't think 10-minute cameos because Bruno needs a rest helps you. I mean, I dread to know what his minutes are in the Premier League this season. If somebody can tell me what Mainoo's, there you go, a bit of homework while we're live. Go and find out what Mainoo's minutes in the Premier League are this year, considering we've played 9 games. And 9 times 90 is 810 minutes. So how many minutes out of 810 has he actually played? And there, I think you'll find your answer in relation to Mainoo. I have to say, I sympathise with Zirkzee and Mainoo's situation. It must be really frustrating. But I also sympathise with Amorim's situation, where he's protecting Manchester United Football Club, because if the injuries happen and the AFCON comes, he might need to give these players more minutes. But nobody can sit here and say that he values these players. I mean, obviously he'll say it publicly, but nobody can say that he does, because he doesn't. He doesn't. That they are low down players who help him out if things go wrong. They're not players that he's looking to utilise. I mean, Mason Mount was expected to be a bench player. Look at how many starts he's had. So I think that the obvious solution is to loan both and bring 2 players in on loan. And reassess it in the summer, because I don't think it's fair for Zirkzee and Mainoo to just sit on their arse all season, and there's a very big chance that that's going to happen.